Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Greg and this is Puddle Walkers Outdoors. Alright guys, today we're going to talk about the Ned Rig. The Ned Rig, guys, is a Midwestern classic. This was made famous in the 90s, and for good reason. So in the wintertime, guys, fish are real finicky. They really like to hug to the bottom, and one of the things I love to use is the Ned Rig. Now what makes a Ned Rig, guys, is actually the hook. If you look at this hook right here, it's got a nice barrel head. It's got a flat top to go with it. And that's what makes a Ned is this flat top right here. This can be a mushroom shape, it could be anything, any kind of shape, but the main thing is it has to have a flat surface. So when this comes across the bottom, it's going to catch stuff and it's going to help allow it to stay standing up. And that's what really makes the Ned Rig, is keeping that stand-up position. Typically, if you use a ball head jig and you're dragging it on the bottom, it's going to just come across just like this. You know, it's like a swim jig. You really swim them. You don't want that with the Ned. You want this to be straight up. You're trying to imitate crawfish and you're trying to imitate minnows feeding on the bottom. All right guys, let's talk about rigging your Ned Rig. So there is just a world full of plastics these days that you can actually purchase. One of my favorites is the Trout Tickler Paddle Tail Steelhead Worm. Check this thing here out. If the tail removed, it's basically just your normal TRD style, like a Cinco cut in half, which is kind of where it all started. The guy took a Cinco, cut it in half, put it on there, using small crawl imitations, putting them on there, right? But we've evolved since then, and this is one of my favorites. And the way I like to do it is, you see how you got the flat part of the beaver tail right there. I like my hook to be straight with it, like that right there. So I'll just start out taking it through sideways, just like this right here. You go down, in, and then once you start to make that corner, that's usually about where you want to go ahead and poke her on out at, right there. And then it should slide right on up and snug to the bait, just like that right there. All right guys, you want this right here to be straight as much as you possibly can, all right? When you're fishing the Ned Rig, the fish are gonna get a really, really close look at what you're using. They're gonna be able to see your hook, they're gonna be able to see the color of the head, they're gonna be able to see the bait, they're gonna see everything very vividly. So you wanna use something that is gonna be very subtle and thin profiled, such as this right here. This is why I like this. It's a nice thin profile. It kind of just looks like a small minnow. If you see this in the water, it looks like a lot like a minnow just kind of feeding. And then this tail right here gives me just enough action because it's going to stay buoyant in the water. It's a floating plastic, and it's just going to shake and shimmy around just like that, just what I want. All right guys, let's talk about techniques. I use 3 specific techniques myself. One is just a dead stick. I'll throw it out there, I'll let it sit, I'll keep my rod completely still, and I'll just bring it back, slowly reeling it in. I'll do my best not to hop the bait at all. I got number 2 that I like to use. I'll just throw it out and I'll just let it sit, guys. I'll see a log, some kind of structure, and I'll just throw this bait out in front of it. I'll let it sit. I may reel in just enough to make sure the bait pops up and is standing straight up, and then just let it sit there, guys. A lot of times a bass will come over, he'll look at it for 45 seconds to a minute sometimes, you never know. And then he'll suck it up and take off with it. And you never did anything besides cast it out there. So don't think that you have to be moving this bait all the time in order for it to be effective. All right guys, and now my other technique is really a combination of those 2 added with a shake. I like to shake the rod like this right here. Sometimes I'll do that constantly. I'll constantly shake it in and bring it in like that. And then sometimes I'll throw it out there, I'll let it pause, I'll let it sit for long periods of times, and then I'll shimmy it in place, and then I'll reel it in with my dead stick technique, and then let it sit, and then I'll repeat that cadence in. What I do, guys, is I let the fish tell me what they want. I'll run through my cadences. If nothing works, then you know nothing's gonna work. But if something works, I'll focus on that technique. Secondly, guys, I listen to what my rod is telling me. I listen as it's coming across the bottom. Am I dragging through algae? Am I bouncing off rocks? Is it a small gravelly bed and I got this constant little skip filling? Listen to the little nuances that your rod does. You just kind of give yourself like a visual of what's going on underneath the bottom, and then try to piece together where you think that fish might be hiding. In the wintertime, smallmouth, they don't necessarily like to be out in the open all the time. A lot of times they'll be snuggled up underneath a rock, underneath a tree, underneath a log, anything, you know. And so when you're out there and you're fishing it and you're bringing your lure back, pay attention to those little nuances that this Ned rig is sending back to your rod and into your hand. It's telling you what structure is down there, what kind of obscurities are down there. Are there logs? Are there just rocks? Is it wide open? Like I said, smallmouth, they don't like those wide open areas. So if you're bringing your bait through there cleanly, repeatedly, chances are there's not going to be very many fish in that area, just because there's no place for them to feel comfortable and safe under cover. All right, guys, now I'm going to give you a visual of what these techniques look like. Now, I use the K-Custom rod brand that you guys already know if you've been watching the channel for a while. If you don't know, K-Customs is a local Indiana rod maker. He has built me this beautiful one right here. This is a Rain Shadow Revelation. It's a medium strength or medium power, and it's extra fast tip. It's 6'8", and this thing is built perfect, guys, for creek fishing. I absolutely love it. If you're interested in a custom rod, check out Kevin. He built me a medium light as well, and I like the medium lights, but I really prefer a medium strength. After using both, I know now that I prefer a medium strength, and the reason why is because I've got more power in it. So when I get snagged and stuff, I've got a stiffer and stronger rod to be able to break hooks loose. And then when I hook larger fish, I've got more backbone to get that fish in faster, so I don't tire the fish out. Now, if you're not a catch and release guy, that may not be so important to you. But if you're a catch and release guy like me, chances are you fish the same streams and lakes all the time, right? You've got your areas that you go to. So a lot of times you're catching the same fish in that area. You know, it may be the same 10 bass, same 15 bass. You really want to think about how you're treating those fish. You know, if you want to continue to catch them and then continue to grow, then you want to get them in as quickly as possible. You want to use lures that's not going to cause a lot of damage to your fish. And with this medium rod, I have the ability to catch these larger fish, get them in, and get them back in the water as quickly and safely as possible. All right, guys, so what I've got over here in front of me, I've got this little rock section, and I've got like a deep hole that's just in front of that ice. This is a place I fish during the summertime, so I already know what's going on down here. What I'm going to do is I want to make the furthest cast I can up onto the bank over there. I want to start with my dead stick technique. I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it in there. I'm going to let it sit for a minute, let it calm down. I'm going to keep my rod low, and I'm going to keep my rod as still as I can. And then I'm going to reel that in slowly enough that my bait doesn't become buoyant up into the water column. I want it to stay on the bottom. I want it to kind of stand up, and I want to skip it across the bottom. You know, like when you hold a piece of chalk up to make a dotted line on a chalkboard, right? You just drag it, and the chalk will skip, like, and it'll leave a little dotted line, right? We've all seen a teacher do it. That's what I'm trying to do with my Ned down there. That's what makes the Ned head so crucial, is you got that flat head, right? And when you're bringing it, and if you catch it just right, the bait will stand up on that head, and you'll skip it. And that's what we're trying to do here. It's imperative in the wintertime. The summertime, you can get away with a lot of things. The fish are far more aggressive. They'll track something down. They'll attack something just for hitting the water, right? In the wintertime, they're already nestled in. They're sitting down on the bottom. And what they're doing is they're waiting for food to come by them. And they're waiting for food to come by them slowly. And I say slowly because in the wintertime, everything slows down. The fish slow down. They become sluggish. The minnows slow down. The crawfish slow down. Everything in the water slows down. So you want to try to mimic that natural presentation. You don't want your bait out there hopping and bouncing around, because nothing else in the water is, guys, okay? Nothing out there is hopping and bouncing around and being energetic. Keep it slow. Keep it slow. Keep it on the bottom. Bring it on in. This is mainly creek fishing techniques too, guys. You know, if you're on a big river, you can probably still get away with jerk baits and things like that. But we're talking creek fish. All right, let's throw this first cast out there, and let's do this. All right, so I'll throw it out there. I'll let it sit just like this right here. I'll keep my rod up for now, just because I'm letting my line sink. And sometimes, like a rock bass or some kind of a sunfish can pick you up. On a good warm day, they'll be out, they'll pick you up, and they'll just take off with you immediately. So we let it sit up. Now that my bait's down, it's settled. What I'm gonna do is I'll put my rod tip all the way down like this right here, as low as I can. This gives me room to pull, right, to set the hook. Then I'm just going to reel in slowly like this right here. The only time I'm going to move this, guys, is if I run into something, okay? So I'm not feeling the bottom yet, so I'm slowing it down. now I feel the bottom. It's nice and smooth. Okay, I felt a little tension right there. I need to think, am I hitting algae on the bottom? Am I hitting the log, or am I hitting the rock, right? Or was it maybe even a fish? So we'll just keep bringing this through, keep bringing this through. So I feel it, like that right there. That's me hitting rocks. And I know it's rocks because it pops off of it quickly. So that's that skip I'm talking about. That's what we're looking for. Now if you got something, you feel it and it's pulling you down through it, and it's going to keep feeling tension, it's going to pull your rod as you're reeling in, right? Because you're not holding your rod really stiff. All you're looking to do is let the rod do its own movement. I'm holding it between my thumb and like right here in my grip. I'm letting this action here do its thing. It's like a pendulum swing, right? That's how I like to hold my rod. In the summertime, I'll hold on to that thing like this right here, and there's no grip, right? Because the fish that it hit it so hard it knocked your rod out of your hand. In the wintertime, they don't hit like that, you know? They can, but they don't. So when I hold it like that, I allow the rod to move with the rocks and the algae, and if a fish bites it, right, I feel the fish carry my rod a direction, you know? A lot of times they'll take it up what is normally upstream in the wintertime. They'll grab it and they'll go this way. You know, if the water's going that way, they'll grab it and they'll go up this way. Why, I don't know, but that's a lot of times I can tell what I've got. All right, guys, the second technique now is the shake. I want to show you guys my shake and how I do it. We'll throw it out there again, same thing, and this time I'll let it sink down, and I'm just going to reel it up until I got all my slack out. I want all the slack out. Still the same grip, right? Still the same grip, just kind of holding it between that spot. These briars are giving me a time. Huh. Boy, went right between there. There we go. All right. Now we'll reel our slack in until I think I'm tight, right? I can see my line going out there. And then now I think I got my bait sitting up, and now I'll just shake it, guys. And I'll shake it to where I can feel the jig vibrating. If I don't feel the jig, then I need to reel some more slack in. And I say, guys, I'll just slowly reel it in with it. Get the shake going, pushing it with my finger, bringing it back with my ring finger and my pinky, right, in the grip. And I'll just bring it in just like that. This is a very effective technique, just the same. And you can just bring it in all the way like this, and your bait's going to be shaking and vibrating across the bottom. And as long as you're reeling it in slow, it's not, with the vibrations that I'm giving it, that's shaking it like that, it's not wiggling around as much as you think it would be. What it's doing is it's kind of creating a vibration off of the bait, and so it's kind of sending a signal, you know. As I kind of think like, you know, a heartbeat, you're right, on an animal. And I'm sure a fish can sense a heartbeat inside of a fish. And so I give that a little bit of shake, you know, maybe it sends a vibration. Who knows? Who knows? All right, and then we'll do a mixture, guys. I love to do a mixture of all three. We'll throw it out there like so. We'll let it sit. Shake it. Stop. Pause. Wait. Wait. We'll act like we waited a long time. And then start reeling it real slowly. Maybe give yourself 3 or 4 rotations, right? Stop. Shake it in place. Let it sit there. Shake it, shake it, shake it. And as you're shaking it, start to slowly start reel again. And then stop shaking. All together, stop reeling. Let it sit. Let it pause. Let it sit for a while. You never know. There may be a bass that's a little unsure about it, but he's been tracking it the whole time, and he's just been waiting for it to sit still now. So that's what we're doing here. I'm waiting for it to sit still, see if he picks it up. No? Okay, so now, instead of taking off shaky, we're going to take off real slow. We're going to take off with a dead stick, right? Okay, now we got snagged. But we're on the bottom. That's why we're snagged. There we go. We're off of it. Okay, I know there's some structure right there to get snagged on. They'll go back to our little dead stick just like that, yeah. But I promise you, if there was a bass following that, he most likely would have hit that bait before it got to that obstruction. A lot of times in the winter, They'll slowly track a bait. Just wait until they got it cornered, right? They'll let the bait work themselves into a corner. And once they got the bait into a corner, then they'll attack. So that's another reason why I like to shake, stop, slow reel, stop. You know, maybe I stopped in front of something. I don't know. I can't see down in there. But just be as creative as you can in your mind with what everything is telling you. You know, try to put it together in your head. Don't just blind cast, you know, until something happens. Be methodic, guys, with the decisions that you make. And if you do that, I promise you'll catch fish through the winter.
You got a good one?
I don't know yet. He feels all right. This current ain't helping.
Yeah, that got one. It's big though.
Well, everything looks good on this little rod.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him yet. Oh, Lord have mercy. Beautiful smallmouth, guys, on the trout tickler. I'm excited for that one. Man, he put up a really good fight. Beautiful, beautiful fish. All right. See you later, buddy. I wonder if I could do an underwater there. Whew. He'd give me one anyways. Where the hell are they hiding at? Other side of that tree or something? Here we go. Oh, there we go. Got him. That's a good one. That's a good one. It's a good one, dude. God damn it, I can't get up. That's a good one, dude. Real good one. That's a good fish. I think so anyways. Maybe he's just fighting really good. Nah, he's fat. That's a fatty. Oh yeah. All right, guys. Whew. The Ned. Another nice one on the trout tickler. I bet that one's almost 17 inches, dude, if not 18. Oh, dang it. Oh, he's still on her. He's still on her. I think we got a good one here, guys. Yeah, we did. Holy crap. Here we go, guys. Winter smallies. Look at the size of that fish. Just a beauty, guys. Just a beauty of a smallmouth. Man. That makes my day, guys. All right, let's get them back in there because it's winter time. We don't want to keep them out of the water for this long. That's a dandy. All right, let's let her go. See you later, big girl.